Welcome to English Story Podcast.
The rain fell heavily as Lily looked out of the window. The sound of the drops hitting the roof was calming, but her heart felt restless. She was alone, waiting for someone she loved. John was supposed to meet her here, in the small house on the hill. It was their special place, away from everyone where they could escape. But the storm had come suddenly, trapping her inside. She felt a knot in her stomach, worried about John. He had promised to be here, and she knew he wouldn't break his word. She paced around the room, her mind filled with thoughts of him. Just as she was about to give up hope, there was a soft knock at the door. Her heart raced as she ran to open it. There, soaking wet, stood John with a small smile on his face. "Lily," he said softly, his eyes locking with hers. "I'm sorry I'm late." He stepped inside, dripping water everywhere. Lily didn't care about the mess. She was just happy he was safe. She rushed into his arms, holding him tightly as the storm continued to rage outside. The warmth of his embrace made her feel safe, even though the world outside was wild and dangerous. "I thought you weren't coming," Lily whispered into his chest. John held her even closer, feeling her worry. He gently kissed her forehead, letting her know everything would be all right. "I would never leave you, Lily," he said, his voice calm but full of love. The rain outside seemed to soften for a moment, as if it was listening to their words. The storm no longer felt so frightening. They sat by the small fireplace, their clothes drying slowly. John reached for Lily's hand, squeezing it gently. "Remember when we found this place?" he asked, smiling at the memory. Lily nodded, her heart full of warmth. They had discovered the house by accident one summer afternoon, wandering through the hills together. It had become their secret spot, where they could be themselves. The rain outside grew heavier again, the sound filling the room. But inside, with John beside her, Lily felt nothing but peace. She leaned her head on his shoulder, feeling his heart beat steadily. Lily closed her eyes, listening to the steady rhythm of John's breathing. Outside, the wind howled, but in the warmth of his arms, she felt safe. Time seemed to stop, and she wished they could stay like this forever. John gently stroked her hair, his touch soft and comforting. "I was afraid you might leave," Lily whispered, her voice barely audible. She didn't want to admit her fear, but it was there, deep inside her. John looked down at her, his eyes filled with tenderness. "Never," he said softly, "I'd never leave you, Lily." He tilted her chin up, their eyes meeting, and he kissed her gently, as if to seal his promise. The rain tapped against the windows like a soft melody, adding to the quiet magic of the moment. They sat in silence, just holding each other, the storm outside forgotten. All that mattered was the love they shared. As the hours passed, the fire slowly burned down to glowing embers. The room grew dim, but the warmth between them remained. John pulled Lily closer, wrapping a blanket around them both. The rain showed no sign of stopping, and they knew they were stuck here for the night, but neither of them minded. The little house on the hill had become their shelter, their sanctuary. "Do you remember the first time we came here?" John asked, his voice soft and full of memories. Lily smiled, her heart swelling with the thought of that day. It had been perfect, just like now. "We got caught in the rain then." Too Lily laughed, her voice light, but it was summer rain, not like this. John chuckled, squeezing her hand. "That was the day I realized how much I loved you." Lily blushed, her cheeks warming despite the cool air. "You never told me that," she whispered, feeling her heart flutter. John smiled, brushing a strand of hair away from her face. "I didn't need to." "You felt it, didn't you?" She nodded, remembering how her heart had skipped a beat when he had looked at her that day. It had been a quiet love, one that didn't need words. They had known, even then, that they belonged together. The storm raged on, but it was nothing compared to the storm of emotions inside them. John kissed her again, this time deeper, more passionate. The world outside disappeared, and all that was left was their love.